top left-hand corner of this map, Belshire Beach Winter is Liquid TLO, spawning as the blue Zerg. Bottom right-hand position, we have Gamma Bear Sen, spawning as the red Zerg. Sen, one of the most lovable Taiwanese players. Now, he has fallen off of the tournament scene and the foreign scene. He's really stuck to the Taiwan.
Falling off is the wrong way to describe it, though, Andre. But finish your thought. Finish your thought. Sorry, man. He's so mad when I interrupt him. Here it goes.
How dare you?
Say it. Say it, Andre.
So it's really interesting in DVZ. Belshire Beach is definitely a map where you've seen 14-14. That's probably one of the most important things. Not important, but one of the most prevalent builds. But look at this. Both these players are going for 15 hatch. 15 hatch is very interesting. It is more defensive, but we're expecting a macro game.
Yes. Now, it's interesting because, you know, for a while when Belshire Beach first came out, the way that you can't really defend the ramp. There's no ramp between the main and natural. A lot of people used to go for a lot of speedling, baneling kind of thing because you can't really defend it as easily. But I like the fact that they're both going for hatchery first. And, you know, you've been teammates with Sen. And how is his ZVZ, do you think, compared to his other matchups?
His ZVZ is okay. I wouldn't say it's his best matchup by any means, but I think it's pretty precise. He has good micro, which is probably one of the most important things. His baneling, zergling micro is phenomenal. So expect that, especially in any ZVZ. I think this is actually the first ZVZ we've casted. Is that true?
I think so. It was supposed to be Cats versus Rex last week,
right.
And Cats unfortunately was not able to make it. So the first ZVZ that we've seen, but we've seen PvP earlier today, so another mirror matchup now.
Correct. Well, here's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of ways to go for ZVZ. I've actually been playing Zerg a lot, and you know this. You see me in the studio preparing my builds, etc. But in this beginning phase, we've kind of seen it go down to defensive Zergling, baneling, but you have enough Zerglings out on the map, and what you're trying to do is establish control of that map to know when you can drone and when you can't.
Yes.
And just poke in there with a couple of Zerglings, see your opponent's drone count. That's probably the most accurate way to determine if your opponent is two-base all-inning or if they're going for some sort of macro play.
Yeah, it's really tough to nail down. That's the hardest part of ZVZ, of droning. And actually, it's starting to stabilize a little bit more when to recognize when, but for the most part, right now, both players are mirroring each other pretty well. 20 drones apiece. Actually, well, I mean, one person jumps a little bit ahead, but the upgrades, the queens, the overlord timings are pretty similar, and no deviation just yet. And, I mean, both players know exactly what the other person's doing. They see the hatchery first, and we see the first movement, though, and the first deviation. TLO's getting up baneling nest.
I like the baneling nest, of course. I mean, the theory is if you can stay away from getting the baneling nest as much as possible, you will be able to use that extra drone for mining, whether it be minerals or gas. But normally you do also want to get it in time because you kind of want to be more efficient against mass Zerglings, because that's definitely something that could happen. TLO goes for something like all-in Zerglings, or Sen goes for all-in Zerglings, and you droned a little bit. There's no real way to get more Zerglings than your opponent. Relying on the queen isn't necessarily the best way, so get those banelings out and you're very cost efficient.
Yep, and I like this incorporation. TLO managed to get a full scout, but he made a baneling. Oh, wow. And that reveal of the baneling morphing is huge. Sen knows that his opponent now has a baneling nest without even having to scout his opponent. Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of the standard, though, at this time in. I mean, you're 6 minutes in. Normally, you do have baneling nest, especially when you're done going in 15 hatch. 15 hatch normally is a much faster baneling nest. If we saw 14-14 and it being followed up with like an expansion and just speedlings, then the baneling nest might be delayed a little bit. You might concentrate more on getting a lot of Zerglings, force your opponent to overcommit. Not something that we see. Third and fourth gas being started for Sen, whereas the third gas is already up for TLO. So TLO might be doing some sort of all-in with just mass roaches. Oh no, second gas, excuse me. Whoa, so yeah, TLO definitely might be geared up for some sort of all-in, seeing as he's not getting additional gases.
TLO's expanding. Droning up, though, so it would be a very inefficient all-in.
Yeah, so that doesn't make sense, what I just said?
No, that's totally cool. If that hatchery wasn't scouted by Sen, which it isn't currently. Sen could read it as an all-in. You never know. There's a lot of mind games behind that. Sen is making banelings in the corner of the map as well. His layer is about to finish, so he's going to be able to get out some pretty good tech if he so desires. And what will it be? I mean, well, how is he going to utilize his layer?
Looks like it's probably going to be something like Spire. Where is it?
Spire is at his main.
There it is. Spire tech.
I like the positioning of it too, to keep it away from the Overlord as much as possible. The Zerglings run in here from TLO, and TLO's going to scout it. Now TLO, of course,
will he go for it?
I don't think so. I mean, the Queens and the Zerglings are able to protect it, and Sen has a Zergling advantage, and TLO doesn't want to lose too many of his units. Oh, a nice little Baneling connect. But Sen has at least a ground unit advantage right now. Actually, no, I take that back. TLO made 30 Zerglings now, but he's losing a lot of them to Sen Zerglings. So,
see in the top right-hand position, the Banelings will start to trade off. One Baneling trades for nothing. Actually does. Oh, bad Zergling Baneling engagements here. TLO will lose his third, it looks like.
Yeah, TLO can't really defend this third, so he's getting his infestation bit. He knows the Spire is coming, in fact. And ooh, nice snipe there on the Spire by TLO, and Sen immediately forced to remake it again. That's very big.
Yeah. It's interesting that Sen went for Spire Tech. Normally you go Spire Tech when you know you're in an advantage. Now that it has been revealed, it is a little bit tougher to be consistent, like consistently win with Spire Tech. A lot of times your opponents just have a lot of timings built in. Not only that, oh, actually, what is he doing with these Banelings over here?
Wow. There is 12 Banelings there. Oh no, but the drones are all cluttered, or are they? Sen splitting up and losing about 7 drones there, and the Zerglings are trying to go in for another wave. But Sen holds very nicely. In fact, he had a drone advantage, so he's actually not down that much. But TLO is not done with the aggression yet. He still has to get better connections with his Banelings, but not really that effective. And we see that second wave of TLO is much less effective than the first.
Looks like Sen will stabilize. Let's check the income tab. 44 drones for TLO, 36 for Sen. So Sen is behind at this point, and infestors are already on the way out. Pathogen glands has been researched, and it's almost finished. So it's a nicely timed out. Unfortunately for Sen, just now Spire Tech is kicking in, and that kind of sucks, man. I mean, infestors are able to deal with mutas really well. They can defend against them pretty efficiently. As soon as TLO gets something like, I guess, Hydras, he will be able to clamp down. You don't actually have to mass up in all Hydras. Just get a couple, 5, 6, and then roach out from there, because you're expecting your opponent to go Zergling, Baneling, Muta.
And how will Sen utilize these Mutalisks? He's going to do the old-fashioned way of controlling the map and then trying to expand while he does this. TLO, he picked a really good time. He forced to cancel on the Spire, knew that it would be a while before Sen would be able to do anything. This third is going to be forced to cancel.
Ooh,
or
doesn't.
Not. Huh.
Meantime, Sen will clean up all the Overlords on the map. Of course, that's one of the biggest advantages of going Mutas. You're able to get complete map control and map dominance in terms of sites. Overlords, obviously, for yourself being on the map, not so much for your opponent. So Sen will surely love that. In the meantime, what do we have coming out from TLO? Just infestors. He's just massing up infestors. Not a big fan of that. Yes, infestors are great, don't get me wrong, but I think you do need some sort of meat to your anti-air. Don't want to rely on just infestors, because it's very easy to spread out your mutas, come in at different angles. All of a sudden, those infestors become a lot weaker. You rely on infested Terrans, which are energy or fungal growths, so it could potentially empower whatever it is you have on ground.
I like the fact that Sen, he's keeping Overseers close to TLO's base, knowing that TLO has burrows, so if there's any kind of movement, he's tracking it, and the Infestors really can't do much about it. TLO starting to spread creep with his own Overlord, trying to connect his bases, because that's going to be the most important thing, trying to defend mineral line to mineral line. But for now, Sen's getting an economic advantage, getting that third. For the most part, this time it's uncontested.
Yeah, and TLO is just gearing up for some sort of 2-base all-in. I can't see him doing anything differently. It's very hard for him in this position to actually take a third. Belshire Beach does present itself with a line-type formation. You can see what I mean by that is the third goes in a line rather than Antigua Shipyard, which has sort of a triangle formation. When you have a line, you have to cover a lot more area, a lot more position. That makes it tougher. You need a lot more units to cover this area, and when mutas are out in the field, that's one of those units that can really punish a player that doesn't have enough units for the position.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Sen right now is just feeling really comfortable, just getting his tech up slowly. His upgrades are about to finish with +1, his roach speed, and his Hydralisk Den, so he needs a little bit more time, but he has the exact tool he needs to buy it. As we do see a move out here with Roach's Hydras, and he scouts it. How will SC2 prepare? He's making a lot of Roaches in preparation for this push.
Dan, I think this is too many Hydras. I know it's just, let's go ahead and look at the units tab, but I know it's only 12, but 6 is fine. Rely on your fungal grills.
It's 10, actually. There's 2 not there, but still, yeah, fungals plus Hydras can destroy Mutaballs. It depends on how it is, but Sen's going for a counterattack.
Wow.
Wow, he's going to try to see if he can base trade at least, or at least summon the army back of some sort. TLO's defenses are pretty weak considering he doesn't have much anti-air here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It looks like he goes into the main. A single Spore Crawler is there to defend, but Hydras are on the production tab, and they should help out quite a bit. Actually, they just get rallied right into those units, but in the meantime, there's a big engagement going on at the natural Sen space.
Oh, the fungals on the Roaches of Sen. Sen does have a good concave, though, and the Hydras are trying to force himself up. TLO doesn't have much energy left on his infestors. He's going to burrow them, try to salvage them. As Sen now forced to pull some of his drones. He is still, he was wreaking havoc in the main. He's pulling back his Mutalisks to try to fight the army back in his natural.
Oh my goodness, and the Mutalisks do get, you said it, evacuated. So it looks like all the damage that is being done to Sen is going to be permanent. He can't actually rely on this trade, this base trade. And TLO, it looks like this base, or excuse me, this push was successful. Maybe I was wrong. Those Hydras were enough.
Well, the Mutalisks are cleaning up reinforcements, and again, those Mutalisks pretty vulnerable to the Hydras, especially if you don't have the advantage.
He's backing up.
But he is backing off. I feel like he probably feels like content enough to do enough damage, but see, TLO does have a couple of anti-air defenses. Sen doesn't have many Mutalisks left. As let's look at the workers tab right now. Sen is down 23 to 33, and these mutas are one of the few things giving him control. GG.
Well played from TLO.
Wow.
Very, very cool build from him.
Yeah, really good job, man. I'm really impressed. Dario played well.
Yeah, that's one of the big things. I said it before. Mutas are great when you're ahead. Not so much when you're even. You know, they did pretty much the same build. There's no big deviation in the amount of drones that they had. So going Spire Tech right away, unless you're going to do it like super, super early and make a big risk, I don't think it's the correct decision. It's better off to just go your Roaches, your Hydras, get your upgrades in that fashion, rather than going that Spire style super, super early.
Yeah, we see, I mean, back when Mutas was first starting to get reintroduced to ZBZ, you saw players like Nesty fake going Roaches. They actually let the opponent scout with the Overseer, the Roach War, and everything like that. And then he switches to Mutas in a sudden movement. So we'll see if Sen can come back into the series. That game was brought to you by Azo, the people providing us the monitors for NASL Season 3 and letting us even watch the games. Thank you, Azo, for everything you do. We'll be back after a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Game number 2 between TLO and Sen is coming right up.